Multiple Means of Engagement, Designing for Motivation and Cognitive Access, organized by Carlos Muniz. Building on what we know, in the previous lesson, we established a foundational UDL insight. Learning barriers often originate in instructional design, not in student ability. This lesson deepens that idea by turning to the first UDL principle, multiple means of engagement. Before we explore strategies, we need to challenge one of the most persistent assumptions in education, the idea that engagement is simply a trait students either have or do not have. UDL reframes engagement, not as a student characteristic, but as a design outcome. Rethinking the question we ask. The old question, how do I motivate my students? This framing places the problem and the responsibility entirely inside the student. It assumes motivation is a fixed trait rather than a response to context. The UDL question, how can I design learning experiences that make engagement more likely? This shift transfers agency to the instructional designer. It opens the door to meaningful structural change in how we plan and deliver learning. This reframing is not just semantic. It changes where teachers look for solutions and what kinds of solutions become visible. When engagement breaks down, students engage more consistently when 3 conditions are present in the learning environment. When any of these conditions are absent, even highly capable learners may withdraw. Feeling safe. Students need psychological safety to participate. The confidence that mistakes are part of learning, not signs of failure. Understanding purpose. Students need to see why the learning matters. Purpose transforms tasks from arbitrary exercises into meaningful work. Feeling capable. Students need to believe success is within reach. Without this, effort feels futile and disengagement becomes self-protective. This is why engagement must be intentionally designed, not assumed or hoped for. Interest and relevance. Students are far more likely to invest effort when they see genuine value in what they are learning. This does not mean making everything entertaining or immediately fun. It means helping students connect content to meaning that matters to them. Connect to real-world applications. Show students where this knowledge lives outside the classroom and why it is worth knowing. Offer meaningful choices. When students have input into how or what they learn, their sense of ownership and their engagement increases. Make learning goals transparent. Students who understand the purpose of a learning goal are more willing to work toward it. Effort and persistence. Sustained attention is hard for everyone. Some students disengage not because they cannot learn, but because they do not yet have the structures needed to persist through difficulty. Disengagement here is often a signal that scaffolding is missing, not that the student has given up. Clear learning goals. When students know exactly what they are working toward, sustained effort becomes more achievable. Guided practice. Scaffolded practice builds the confidence students need before working independently. Structured checkpoints. Breaking longer tasks into smaller milestones gives students regular moments of progress and re-engagement. Progress-focused feedback. Feedback that highlights growth, not just performance, keeps students oriented toward continued effort. Self-regulation and executive function. Many students disengage not because the content is beyond them, but because the demands of organizing, planning, and initiating tasks are overwhelming. Executive function challenges affect learners across every age group and ability level. Checklists. Step-by-step checklists help students track progress and reduce the cognitive load of remembering what comes next. Models and exemplars. Seeing a finished or in-progress example reduces ambiguity and helps students take the first step. Planning guides. Structured planners support students in organizing their thinking before beginning a task. Structured routines. Predictable routines reduce decision fatigue and help students redirect cognitive energy toward actual learning. Engagement and cognitive load. Even motivated students can disengage when the demands of a task exceed their working memory. When students must simultaneously decode instructions, manage materials, and produce work, they may disengage before learning even begins. This is not a lack of effort. It is the predictable result of unnecessary cognitive overload. Teachers can reduce this load without reducing the intellectual challenge of the content. Write instructions in plain, direct language. Break complex tasks into clearly sequenced steps. Provide worked examples or annotated models. Make expectations visible throughout the task. The UDL principle. The challenge should be in the learning goal, not in navigating the task. When students spend cognitive energy figuring out what to do, they have less left for actually doing it. Clarity is not scaffolding for the weak. It is good instructional design for everyone. 3 UDL factors at a glance. Interest and relevance. Connect content to real-world meaning, self-regulation. Reduce cognitive management demands, effort and persistence. Provide supports for sustained engagement. These three factors are not independent. They reinforce one another. When students find relevance, they persist longer. When they persist, they build self-regulatory capacity. When they can self-regulate, they engage more deeply with meaningful work. The core takeaway: engagement is not something students bring to instruction. It is something instruction makes possible. Multiple means of engagement is not about making learning easier or lowering expectations. It is about removing unnecessary barriers so that more learners can bring their full effort to the work. When teachers design intentionally for motivation, persistence, and executive functioning, participation becomes more equitable and more predictable. Reflection prompt: what is one change you could make to your lesson design this week that would make engagement more accessible for more learners?